You know, I bought this Mini from United Rentals, and I'm serious, I've had it for a few months, quite a few months actually, but I haven't used it. It's been sitting. I think it's got about 2 hours on it from me, maybe 2.5. I bought it to do some work on this fence and clean up around here. So I went over to get fuel, and I heard a pop, and let me show you what's going on. I had to nurse it back over here. I'm going to get that track off the ground and watch. You hear that? I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know if it's stuck, but it rolls. So no, it's not that. Something either got into this motor or it broke. But anyway, I heard a pop and then it quit. The other thing, they told me that it had been serviced. So I checked it and they lied to me. It had not been serviced. So I had to clean it up, change the oil and all that, service it. What I'm going to do now is I want to see if I can get this track off, because I've never worked on one of these. It's going to be a learning experience, but I got to get this motor off so I can take it apart. That wasn't too bad. I need to get this down a little bit. Alright, it'll be fine there. That's what I'm talking about. That's just weird to me. I don't understand what the deal is. See, that's not right, I don't think. Problem is, I don't have $2,000 to replace this. When I paid for it, I didn't think I was going to have to spend another $2,000 on it. Ta-da! I already opened this up, just see what was behind it. All the hoses have to come off. And then there's all the bolts that go around that hold this little motor on. So once I get the motor out, I'll set up a space to work on it. And I'll start disassembling it, and you guys can see what I see. Okay, we're back the next day. Time to pull this motor off. Before I do though, I want to try to clean around it. Okay. That's not going to be easy because these hoses are so stiff and it's cold out. I think I'm going to have to pull the motor to get the hoses to come off of this thing. Managed to get all the bolts out, try to protect the hoses from getting dirt in them. Had to use the crow's foot on one bolt to break it free. I mean, it's ready to come out now. That one's pretty tight. It's pretty heavy. I think they're like 70 pounds or something. Because I've been looking, how much does it cost to ship it and all that stuff. All right. Well, I got it figured out. I'm pretty sure there's not anything wrong with this motor. I think what the problem was is the brake wasn't working right, because when I took it apart, there was no pressure behind this. And there's supposed to be spring pressure pushing that, but it was stuck. Like the brake was on or something weird was going on where it just wouldn't turn, but it really wasn't braking either. Once I got it apart, you could probably see on the video, I could spin the shaft and the whole thing would turn, and it didn't have any kind of issue grinding or anything. So something just got stuck, and I don't know why. I'm putting it back together to see if I'm correct or if there's something major going on here, but I could not find a problem in this. Yeah, that's something else I learned. That just seems to never stop leaking. So I've had to pump that out several times. Probably got at least 2 gallons of hydraulic fluid. I finally got it filled up with fluid. It seemed pretty low. Now we're full. Took me a while to figure out you had to take the top of the filter off, and I couldn't find any other way of putting fluid in it. Filled it up. Now I'm gonna crank it up, and it's kind of the moment of truth to see if our track's gonna work. Let me put you guys here. Bad news, not working. Dang. Back to the drawing board. Here's the problem that I see. I did a bunch of tests to make sure there wasn't something funny going on with the valving. I do know there's pressure going into this. I just don't know if there's fluid in it. If there's not any fluid in this thing, then I know we got a valve issue on the top. If there's fluid in it, then I know that we have a mechanical issue inside of where the gears are. But yeah, that's where we're at on this. One thing I know to do is tear it back down and find out. This is very frustrating. I don't really have the money to replace this thing. So now the brake is working like it should. See, now there's pressure on all of this. Definitely looks like it's full of fluid. Now I figured out what the book was saying. If you want to pop the brake part out, or this part, then you have to put pressure in this hole, and it will push against these seals and push it up. I did that and got this out, which makes it a lot easier to get to everything, because I was doing it the hard way before. I cannot feel anything wrong with this part, so there's no point in pulling apart the backside of this. Got my new drive in. It's different, but it's like a universal. Honestly, it is heavier than the original, so I'm not sure if it's more, you know, sturdy or what the deal is with it, but it's definitely heavy. Based on when I was running the other motor, the broken one, the bypass was running. I don't know if you want to call it bypass, overflow, whatever you want to call it. That top one had fluid running out of it on the old motor. The other side of this unit, it didn't have anything coming out of the overflow. So that told me that something's wrong with the motor itself. So I needed to get another motor, which I did. So these things, apparently, they just break when you don't put pressure on them, which makes sense. When there's no pressure, hydraulic pressure, it breaks. Now, I'm really disappointed that the original one gave out. It makes me concerned about this other one. Alright, moment of truth. Nope, we're right in the middle on the fluid. My biggest concern is whether or not this is going to work the same way. I've got, you know, one direction and the other. If I have to, I'll swap them. But I'm hoping it works right out of the box like that. It's working correctly, going the right direction. Let's hit the 2-speed because I'm pretty sure there's air in that line. Wow. Awesome. Now I get to have fun putting the rest of this back together. I don't know how much to put in it. Enough to keep it from falling off. So the only thing I can do is just start it up and turn it and see what happens. That looks pretty good if you ask me. Yep, I think it's good. Looky there. See, it wouldn't do that before. That motor must have been messed up.